And so when we think about geopolitical risks, that can show up as Russia's war in Ukraine. It can show up as security environments that are trending in a downward direction across different countries. It can also show up as this concept of a permacrisis, where it feels like we're in a constant, perpetual state of a crisis. And what used to be maybe a 24 to 48 or 72-hour crisis incident is now more long-term, right? When we think about political unrest, that can show up as protests due to elections. It can show up as the France protests over pension reform. It can show up as opposing or conflicting views that we're seeing from a election or elected official perspective. When we think about insider threats, there's been recent reports about the cost of insider threats and the global and how that shows up globally. And we're seeing that those trends are moving upward, and they've risen by 44% over the past 2 years. And so and then if you think about natural disasters, right, that's something that's more commonplace, especially for those of us who might be in cities where you experience hurricanes or floods or wildfires. But what I consistently have been hearing is that natural disasters are happening more frequently. And sometimes, especially from a US perspective, every day we are experiencing a natural disaster, right? And so again, where are the resources at for us to be able to handle and to manage that? And so what we wanted to kind of think through was, if we can understand what an uncontrollable event looks like, what are some of those characteristics that we're seeing that they have in common? They're swift, they're turbulent, it feels like it's out of control, and I typically don't have direct contact with the source. So for example, if we think about geopolitical conflicts, I don't know anybody on my team who has direct contact with Russia or Ukraine, right? And so while I may be able to send aid and to donate some resources, typically I don't have the direct contact with the immediate source. And so that's just to kind of give us a picture of what some of those uncontrollable things might look like.